The termination letter slips from Daniel's fingers and skids across the polished marble floor. It stops right at his shoes. 9 in the morning. Too early for a life to fall apart. Behind him, 2 security guards shift their weight, waiting, not speaking. In front of him, Marcus doesn't even look up twice. You're done here. Effective immediately. No anger. No explanation, just a sentence, already decided. The office goes quiet. Not silence worse. Whispers. Eyes turning away. People who used to nod at him now stare like he's already gone. Daniel bends down slowly, picks up the paper, smooths it out with steady hands. No shaking, no scene, just control. But his eyes stop on something, a detail most people wouldn't catch. A signature, then another, then the last one. His jaw tightens just slightly. Because one of them doesn't belong. A flicker of something passes through him. Not panic, not fear, recognition, like a door quietly unlocking in his mind. And then footsteps echo behind him. New ones, confident ones. He turns just enough to see them. 3 men walking in. Clean suits, sharp posture. They don't look at Marcus. They look at the systems. At the walls. At everything Daniel built. And in that moment, he understands. They didn't just fire him. They replaced him. Before he even walked out the door, he wasn't just being fired. He was being erased. Daniel Reeves was the kind of man people depended on without ever really seeing. He arrived early, left late, fixed what others broke, quietly. No titles, no spotlight, just results. If something stopped working inside Halcyon Dynamics Tower, it eventually reached him, and when it did, it stayed fixed. Not patched, not delayed. Fixed. He understood systems the way some people understand people. The patterns, the weak points, the silent warnings before collapse. He fixed problems no one else even knew how to find, and yet his name never made it past the maintenance logs. That night, he sat at a small kitchen table across from Lily, 7 years old, bare feet tucked under her chair, a crayon in her hand. She was drawing again. She always was. Stick figures, but never just stick figures. Each one had something extra. A glowing heart. She pressed harder on that part, colored it brighter than the rest. "Why do you always draw hearts?" Daniel asked softly. She didn't look up. "Because that's where the good is," she said. Simple. Certain. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. On the fridge behind her, a photo. Her mother, still in her nurse uniform. Still smiling like everything would be okay. She used to say Daniel saw things differently. Not broken, she'd tell him. Just deeper. That was before the hospital room, before the machines, before silence replaced her voice. Daniel looked away from the photo. Back to Lily. Back to now. The envelope on the counter hadn't moved all day. Rent overdue. School fees pending. Final notice stamped in red, like a warning he couldn't ignore anymore. He folded it once, then again, as if making it smaller would make it less real. Across the city, above glass walls and polished floors, power lived in a different world. Boardrooms, executives, decisions made in minutes that changed lives below them. At the center of it all, Evelyn Cross, sharp, precise, untouchable. She stood at the head of a long table, listening more than speaking. Numbers moved, deals closed, people nodded, everything under control, everything exactly where it should be. She didn't know Daniel Reeves existed. Not his name, not his work, not the systems quietly holding everything together beneath her. Back at the kitchen table, Lily finished her drawing. 3 figures, she pushed it toward him. "This is us," she said. Daniel looked. 1 small figure, 1 tall figure, and 1 more, standing beside them. But this one had no face. "Who's that?" he asked gently. Lily shrugged. "I don't know yet." Daniel stared at it longer than he should have, because something about it felt unfinished, like a space waiting to be filled, or something waiting to be taken. The next morning, his ID didn't work. His login failed. His locker was cleared. And just like that, his name was gone from everything. The email hits every screen at once. Subject line urgent, company-wide, Daniel Reeves, system breach, responsible. He's standing in the open office when it spreads. Notifications. Pings. Heads turning. Not confusion. Recognition. Like they were waiting for a name. And now they had one. Marcus steps forward from the glass hallway, holding a tablet like evidence already judged. "Everyone deserves transparency," he says, voice calm, controlled. "This morning, we discovered a critical failure in our core systems." Eyes shift to Daniel. No one says his name. They don't need to. Marcus taps the screen. Charts appear on the nearest display. Timelines, access logs, red flags highlighted in clean, professional lines. All activity traces back to one access point, Marcus continues. One account. A pause. Then Daniel Reeves. The words land harder than they should, because of how easily they're said, like truth, like fact. Daniel doesn't move, doesn't interrupt. He just watches, listens, studies the data like he's looking at something familiar, twisted just enough to lie. Marcus scrolls. Unauthorized overrides, security bypasses, manual interference. Each word sharp, precise, final. Murmurs ripple through the room. Low, controlled, but spreading. People take small steps back. Not obvious, but enough. Distance, separation. One of them shakes their head quietly. Another avoids eye contact completely. The space around Daniel widens without anyone admitting they moved. He feels it, but he doesn't react, because something clicks instead. Not panic, not confusion. Understanding. This wasn't a mistake. The timestamps are too clean, the sequence too perfect, the narrative too ready. It was built, prepared, delivered. He lifts his eyes to Marcus, and in that moment he knows he's not defending himself today because this was decided long before he walked in. Marcus lowers the tablet slowly, meeting his gaze for the first time. No anger there, no hatred, just calculation. "You were trusted," Marcus says, "and you abused that trust." A beat. Then the line that settles everything. "You were always replaceable." It lands heavier than the accusation, because it isn't about the breach. It's about value, or the lack of it. Daniel exhales once, slow, measured. Still no outburst, no denial shouted across the room. Just a quiet acceptance of what this moment really is. Not an investigation, not a misunderstanding. An exit, designed, executed, complete. Behind the glass doors, movement begins. 3 figures step inside. Sharp suits. Confident pace. They don't hesitate. Don't ask questions. They walk straight past Marcus. Past the tension. Past the silence. And toward the systems. Toward the terminals. Toward the workstations Daniel spent years building, refining, protecting. One of them reaches a console, types, navigates. Fast. Too fast. Not learning. Using. Daniel's eyes narrow slightly. Because they're not exploring. They already know where everything is. What it does. How it works. The room doesn't notice. They're still watching him, still judging, still deciding what kind of man he must be. But Daniel isn't looking at them anymore. He's looking at the truth walking in front of him. And it hits. Quiet, cold, final. They didn't just accuse him. They didn't just remove him. They prepared for this, built around him, replaced him. And those replacements walked in, already knowing his systems. The article goes live before noon. Clean headline, sharp wording, no hesitation. Internal breach, linked to employee negligence. Daniel doesn't need to open it. He already knows whose name sits inside. Still, he taps it, reads it once. Then again, every line polished, every detail arranged just enough to sound real. Audit findings, internal sources, confirmed reports. They don't call him a criminal. They don't need to. They build the picture and let the reader decide. By evening, his name is searchable and ruined. The next envelope arrives the same day. Thicker, heavier. Legal notice. Intent to pursue damages, losses, liability, consequences. Words that don't shout but tighten around him slowly. He sets it down next to the unpaid bills, doesn't open it again, because he already understands the message. Stay quiet. Disappear. Or we make it worse. The next morning, he starts applying. Anywhere. Everything. Maintenance roles. Technical support. Night shifts. Places that used to call him back within hours. Now, nothing. No responses. No interviews. Just automated rejections arriving faster than he can send the next application. He stares at one email longer than the others. After careful consideration, he almost laughs. Because there was no consideration, just a name and what it now carries. Days pass like this, quiet, heavy, slipping. Lily notices first. She always does. Not the emails, not the letters. Him. The way he pauses before answering. The way he stares a little too long at nothing. The way his smile shows up late and leaves early. "Daddy?" He looks up. She's standing in the doorway, crayon in her hand, head tilted slightly. "Did you forget something?" He forces a small smile. "What do you mean?" She walks closer, studies his face like it's a puzzle. "Your happy face," she says simply. "It's not here anymore." The words land softly, but deeper than anything Marcus said. Daniel looks away for a second, just a second, because for the first time he doesn't have an answer ready. That night she draws again, same table, same crayons, same quiet focus. He watches from across the room, not interrupting, not asking, just watching. She finishes and slides the paper toward him. 3 figures, like always. One small, one tall, one beside them. Still there, still unfinished, still without a face. Daniel picks it up slowly, runs his thumb along the edge. "Who is this?" he asks, softer this time. Lily shrugs. "I think it's someone important." "Then why no face?" She thinks for a moment, then says, "Maybe they didn't show it yet." Daniel nods, but something about that answer sits with him. Too long, too heavy. Later that night, the apartment is quiet. Lily asleep. The city dim beyond the window. Daniel sits alone at the table, the drawing in front of him, the legal notice beside it, the bills under his hand. Everything stacked, everything stacked, everything pressing. He leans back slowly, closes his eyes, and for the first time, the thought comes. Not loud, not dramatic, just there. What if he stopped fighting? What if he let it end here? No more applications. No more explaining. No more pushing against something designed to crush him. Just silence. Just survival. The idea doesn't scare him. That's what scares him, because it feels easier. Then, a small voice echoes in his mind. "Daddy, why did they take your smile?" His eyes open. He looks down at the drawing again. At the faceless figure. At the empty space waiting to become something. And he realizes he's not the only one waiting. The night stretches on. Heavy. Unanswered. But not finished. Because the next morning, someone unexpected saw the truth. CTA placeholder. Pause here and prompt viewers to subscribe, comment, and stay for the reveal. The maintenance alert comes in as a minor disruption. Nothing urgent, nothing flagged high priority. Just another system anomaly in the lower infrastructure layer of Halcyon Dynamics Tower. Evelyn Cross almost ignores it. Almost. But something in the phrasing catches her. Not the issue itself, the pattern. She walks down without announcing it. No entourage, no interruption, just her. By the time she reaches the lower service corridor, most executives wouldn't even be aware this level exists. Dim lighting, hum of aging infrastructure, systems that keep the blast tower above alive. And there she sees him, Daniel. He isn't performing. He isn't explaining. He's kneeling beside an open panel, sleeves rolled up, focused completely on the problem in front of him. A live system failure. No hesitation. No wasted movement. Just precision. A small crowd of junior technicians stands back, watching him like they're watching something they don't fully understand. One of them whispers, "He's not even on the roster anymore." Evelyn hears it, but doesn't respond, because Daniel fixes it in under 3 minutes. 3 clean adjustments. 1 recalibration. A final reset. And the system stabilizes like it never failed. He closes the panel, wipes his hands, and stands up. That's when she notices it. Not his skill, not his speed, his calm. No pride, no need for acknowledgement. Like this is normal, like this is who he is. Evelyn steps closer without thinking. "Who trained you?" she asks. Daniel pauses, looks at her briefly, then returns to the panel, tightening a final screw. "No one," he says simply. But she's already seen enough systems in her life to know that answer is impossible. Later that afternoon, she requests the internal reports for the incident. Marcus delivers them personally, fast, confident, controlled. "Employee negligence," he says again. "We've contained it." Evelyn opens the file, scrolls, stops, scrolls again. Something doesn't align. The timestamp of the failure doesn't match the access logs. A gap, a small one, but deliberate. She looks up. "Why is there a manual override sequence here?" she asks. Marcus doesn't hesitate. Residual system behavior. Legacy code issues. Too fast, too clean. Evelyn closes the file. Doesn't argue. But something shifts. A thread of doubt. Not loud, not emotional. Just present. Because she remembers the man in the lower corridor. The way he fixed something her entire engineering board couldn't stabilize. And now, she's looking at a report that says he caused the failure. That evening, she returns alone again. The corridor is quieter now, most staff gone, only emergency lights remain, and Daniel is still there. Not fixing anything this time, just sitting on a crate beside a maintenance unit. Beside him, a small figure. Lily. She's drawing on a clipboard he must have given her. Tongue slightly out in concentration, completely unbothered by the industrial noise around her. Evelyn stops at a distance, watches. Lily looks up first, sees her, and without fear, walks over. "Hi," Lily says simply. Evelyn blinks. "Hello. You're the lady from upstairs," Lily adds, as if confirming a fact. "I think so," Evelyn replies softly. Lily studies her for a moment, then asks, "Do you break things too?" A pause. Evelyn almost smiles. "Sometimes," she admits. Lily nods like that makes sense, then goes back to her drawing. Daniel watches from a distance but doesn't intervene, doesn't introduce, doesn't intervene, doesn't introduce, doesn't interrupt, just observes. Evelyn turns slightly toward him. "You didn't answer my question earlier," she says. Daniel finally meets her eyes. "Which one? Who trained you?" A beat. Silence between them. "Then I learned by fixing what everyone else ignored," he says. Simple. Not defensive. Just true. Evelyn looks down at the clipboard Lily is drawing on. 3 figures again. But this time, one of them has started to take shape. Not finished, but forming. Evelyn exhales quietly. Because something is off. Not wrong in a loud way, wrong in a precise way. The reports. The systems. The story Marcus told her. The man in front of her. None of it aligns. She returns to her office that night. Reopens the file. Zooms in. Rechecks logs. Zooms in. Rechecks logs. And that's when she sees it. The inconsistency. One line of code altered. Not randomly, not sloppily, but surgically. By someone who knew exactly what they were hiding. Her fingers pause over the screen. Slowly, she leans back. For the first time, she isn't sure Marcus is telling the truth. And for the first time, she's not sure he ever was. The truth wasn't buried. It was waiting. The first contradiction arrives in silence. No alarm. No announcement. Just a line in the system logs that shouldn't exist. Evelyn Cross stares at the screen, motionless. Email routing history. Internal access trail. And Daniel Reeves's account inactive at the exact time the breach supposedly occurred. She scrolls back, again, then slower. Every timestamp aligns too perfectly, not with guilt, with absence. The system logs told a different story. Her voice is barely audible, even to herself. She pulls the CCTV feed next, lower maintenance corridor. The same window of time. Static corridors. Empty access paths. Then Daniel appears. Not inside the restricted server room, not near the core systems, but in a completely different wing, talking to a junior technician about a broken pump line, tim-stamped, verified, undeniable. Evelyn leans forward slightly. Her expression doesn't change, but something in her understanding does. She opens another file, then another, each one peeling back the same conclusion. He couldn't have done it. Not when they said he did. Not the way they said he did. A knock interrupts her thoughts. Marcus, confident as always. "You reviewing old noise again?" he asks lightly. Evelyn doesn't look up. Why is Daniel Reeves logged in 2 places at once? Marcus doesn't hesitate. System duplication error happens with legacy accounts. Too quick, too smooth. Evelyn finally looks at him and doesn't blink. "Show me the raw logs." A pause. Small, almost invisible. Then Marcus smiles. Of course. But something behind it tightens, because now it's no longer controlled, it's examined. Later that day, Evelyn meets Tom Alvarez. He waits outside the building like he doesn't belong there anymore. Which, in a way, he doesn't. Former junior engineer. Now gone quiet from fear or guilt, no one knows which. She brings him into a side conference room. No cameras. No audience. Just truth space. I need to know what you saw, she says. Tom hesitates, looks down, then speaks. He didn't do it. Simple, direct. Evelyn doesn't interrupt. I saw the access panel before the breach, Tom continues. It was already staged. Someone had preloaded a script. Daniel wasn't even near the system at the time. And you didn't report this? Tom laughs once. No humor in it. Reported to who? Marcus already had the narrative written. Silence follows. Heavy. Real. Evelyn studies him. You're sure? Tom nods. I watched him fix problems no one else even understood. That breach? That wasn't his level. That was above him. Someone wanted it to look like him. The words settle slowly, not as accusation, as clarity. That evening, Evelyn finds Daniel again. Same place, lower corridor. Lily is gone this time. Just him. Sitting on a metal crate, hands loosely folded, not waiting. Just existing. She stands a few feet away before he notices her. You were right, she says. Daniel looks up, doesn't react strongly. Just listens. She takes a breath. I think someone set you up. A pause. Then, I don't think, she adds quietly. I know. Daniel doesn't ask how, doesn't ask why now. He simply nods once, like he already suspected it. Evelyn sits across from him. Not as CEO, not as authority, just a person trying to understand something she missed. I've spent my life trusting the wrong people, she admits. And now I don't trust my judgment anymore. Daniel doesn't respond immediately. He looks at the floor for a moment, then speaks. You don't need perfect judgment, he says, just willingness to look again. That lands differently, not as comfort, as permission. Evelyn watches him more closely now, not the system fixer, not the accused, the man who stayed calm while everything collapsed around him, and something in her finally settles into place, not certainty, but direction, because now she sees it, not just what happened, but who benefited from it. And for the first time, she understands the shape of the trap. It wasn't messy, it was designed. And somewhere inside Halcyon Dynamics Tower, someone is realizing the same thing. Marcus realizes someone was digging. The notification arrives at Lily's school before Daniel even sees it. Enrollment under review pending legal investigation. A polite sentence. A dangerous one. It spreads faster than any accusation ever could. By the time Daniel reads it, the damage is already in motion. He stands in the hallway of Halcyon Dynamics Tower, phone in hand, eyes fixed on the screen, not moving, not breathing right. Then another message. This one worse. Custody review initiated. Petition filed. Grounds, instability, financial risk, alleged misconduct. Marcus didn't just want his job, he wanted his daughter out of his life. The hallway feels smaller, quieter, too quiet. For a moment, Daniel just stands there, reading it again, not because he doesn't understand, because he refuses to accept how far it's gone. Then he closes the phone, slowly, carefully, like breaking something fragile inside himself. He went after the only thing that mattered. The realization doesn't come as anger, it comes as clarity. Final, clean. No more illusions, no more waiting for systems to correct themselves. This wasn't about clearing his name anymore. It was about keeping Lily safe. And Marcus just made it personal. Daniel turns and walks, not toward legal channels, not toward appeals, not toward appeals. He walks away from his own defense. For the first time, he stops trying to prove anything. Because there's nothing left to prove. Evelyn sees him from the upper glass walkway. She doesn't call out. She just watches. Something in his pace is different. Not rushed, not panicked, decided. She follows him quietly, down through the corridors, past the maintenance levels, back toward the lower section of the tower. He stops outside a small waiting area. Billy is there, sitting on a bench with a school bag twice her size, feet swinging slightly, unaware of the legal storm forming around her. When she sees him, her face lights up instantly. "Daddy!" She runs to him. He kneels without thinking, arms wrapping around her like it's the only stable thing left in the world. She clings to him, then pulls back slightly, looks at his face. Something in it makes her pause. "Did something happen?" she asks softly. He hesitates, just for a second, then shakes his head. "No," he lies gently. She studies him, like she always does, then smiles. Small, certain. "Okay," she says. Then, quieter. "I told them you're not bad." Daniel goes still. "What?" "At school," she continues. "They said grown-ups make mistakes. I said, not you." A pause. She reaches up and touches his cheek. "You fix things," she says simply. "You don't break them." That sentence breaks something in him, not loudly, not dramatically, but completely. He closes his eyes for a moment, just holding her, because if he speaks now, he won't be able to stop. Behind them, Evelyn stands still, watching, understanding now what she didn't before. This wasn't just a setup, it was an escalation. And Marcus didn't just target Daniel. He targeted what kept him standing. Daniel finally opens his eyes, looks at Lily, and makes a decision that doesn't need words. He stands, slowly, holding her hand, and turns away from every system in the building, every appeal, every process, every version of justice that moves too slow, because now there is only one thing that matters: keeping her safe. That's when Evelyn realizes it fully. "This isn't about proving innocence," she whispers. "It's about survival." And for the first time, she understands exactly what Daniel is willing to lose, and what he will never lose. "Daddy, you're still my hero," Lily says suddenly. Simple, unfiltered, truth. Daniel doesn't answer. He just holds her hand tighter, because everything else in the world has already started to fall away. And somewhere above them, Marcus prepares the final move. The boardroom doors close with a sound that feels final, not dramatic, just absolute. Marcus stands at the head of the table, already composed, already prepared for control. Across from him, Evelyn Cross, and beside her, Daniel Reeves. Quiet, unarmed, but not empty. "You're making a mistake," Marcus says smoothly, scanning the room. "This is a settled internal matter." Evelyn doesn't respond immediately. She places a folder on the table, then another, then a third, each one heavier than the last in silence alone. "No," she says finally, "it's not settled, it's staged." A shift moves through the room, small, but noticeable. Marcus smiles. "You're letting emotions interfere with operations." Evelyn opens the first file. Email logs. Original access timestamps. Full, unedited server routing. She slides it forward. Daniel Reeves was not in the system during the breach window. Marcus doesn't even glance at it. Metadata can be manipulated. The second file opens. CCTV footage. Lower corridor. Daniel visibly away from restricted systems during the entire incident. "This doesn't prove anything," Marcus says faster now, but his voice has changed. Less controlled, more precise. The third file lands. Tom's testimony, signed, verified, irreversible. Evelyn's tone stays steady. "This does." Silence. For the first time, Marcus doesn't respond immediately. The room feels tighter, like the air itself is recalculating. Then Evelyn turns slightly. To everyone here, she says, "You were given one version of the story." She pauses, then continues. "Now you will see the original one." The doors open again. 3 engineers step in. The same men from before. But now they are not replacements. They are witnesses. One of them speaks first. "I was trained by Daniel Reeves." Another follows. "So was I." Then the third. "He built the system we're all using. Every layer, every protocol." A ripple moves through the room. Confusion, then recalculation. Marcus straightens. "That's irrelevant," he says sharply. "He still violated protocol." Evelyn turns another page. Her voice lowers. Calmer, colder. "It wasn't a violation," she says. "It was a fabrication." She looks at him now, directly. "Your logs were altered before submission." A pause. Then this wasn't an investigation. It was a cover. The words land differently this time, because they are no longer claims, they are confirmations. Daniel finally speaks, not loudly, not emotionally, just clearly. "I don't want revenge." He steps forward slightly. "Just the truth." Marcus laughs once, but it breaks halfway through, because the room is no longer listening to him. Evelyn opens the final file. A system architecture blueprint, authored, signed, built by Daniel Reeves. The room goes still. "He designed Halcyon's core infrastructure," she says. "Every system, every failsafe, every dependency." A beat. Then she adds, "And you tried to erase him from it." The realization doesn't explode, it settles. Heavy, final. Marcus looks around now, for support, for alignment, for anything that used to belong to him. But it's gone. Even the air feels different. One of the board members finally speaks. "We need to vote." Marcus turns sharply. "You can't do this." But the motion has already begun. Hands rise, one by one, not in anger, in clarity. The decision is unanimous. Removal, immediate. Security steps forward, but Marcus doesn't resist, because there is nothing left to defend. As he is escorted out, he looks back once at Daniel. No words come. None are needed. Daniel doesn't watch him leave. He doesn't follow. He doesn't celebrate. He just stands there. Still, because justice, when it finally arrives, doesn't feel like victory. It feels like correction. Evelyn closes the folder gently, and in the silence that follows, everything inside Halcyon Dynamics Tower shifts, not loudly, but permanently. Everything changed after that moment. Weeks later, Halcyon Dynamics Tower no longer feels like the place it used to be, not louder, not quieter, just corrected. Systems still run, people still work, but something fundamental has shifted in how things are seen. Daniel doesn't walk through it like someone erased anymore. He walks through it like someone remembered. Lily's school email arrives first. "Student progress exceptional. Recommended advancement." He reads it twice, not because he doubts it, because he's still getting used to good news not having a hidden cost. At home, Lily sits at the same small table, same crayons, same focus. But something is different. She pushes a drawing toward him. 3 figures, same family. But this time, all of them have faces, smiling. Daniel studies it longer than he should. "You changed it," he says softly. Lily nods. "I finished it," she replies simply. A pause. Then she adds, "I knew who it was supposed to be now." Daniel smiles. Not forced, not careful, real. Work has changed too. He doesn't fix things quietly in the shadows anymore. Now people ask for him. Respectfully. Not as maintenance. As foundation. Evelyn made sure of that. And she didn't do it loudly. She just made sure the truth stayed where everyone could see it. One afternoon, she finds Daniel near the lower gardens of the tower. Not working. Just standing. Lily is nearby, chasing light through the space like it belongs to her. Evelyn walks up beside him. "You could have left," she says. Daniel watches Lily. "I did," he replies. A small silence. Not uncomfortable, just real. Evelyn looks at him more carefully now. Not as a CEO, not as someone trying to fix a mistake, but as someone who finally understands what was almost lost. "Most people would have walked away from everything after that," she says quietly. Daniel shakes his head. "I had one reason not to." Across the garden, Lily spins once, then stops, laughing at something only she finds funny. Then she runs back, climbs into Daniel's space without hesitation. She looks up at Evelyn. "You're the lady who asks questions," she says. Evelyn smiles slightly. "I suppose I am." Lily tilts her head. "Are you staying this time?" The question is simple, but it lands deeper than intended. Evelyn glances at Daniel. He doesn't answer for her. He doesn't need to. Lily nods anyway, satisfied. Then she turns to her father. "I drew everyone smiling," she says again, softer now, like it matters more this time. Daniel looks at her, then at the drawing in his hand, and finally understands something he couldn't before. Not everything broken stays broken. Not everything erased stays gone. Some things return differently. Better. He kneels slightly, fixes her hair gently, and says, "It looks right." Lily beams. "Kindness always comes back," she says proudly. Daniel pauses at that, then nods once, because now he knows it's true. Evelyn hears it too, and doesn't argue. The wind moves softly through the garden, and for the first time in a long time, nothing feels like it's about to fall apart. Just continue. Just live. And some truths don't just fix lives, they rebuild them. If this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button and join the Just Add Things family.